The vastness of space was silent that day. A silence that wasn't just the absence of sound, but the kind of tense stillness that makes even the stars seem to hold their breath. In the far reaches of the Andromeda sector, countless alien fleets had gathered, each warship a symbol of power, each commander confident they held the edge in this long-standing galactic standoff. It was a delicate balance of power, one that had lasted for centuries. And then, without warning, it happened. A single warship emerged from a hidden wormhole near the edge of the sector. It was unlike anything anyone had seen before. Massive, sleek, and humming with an energy that crackled through space itself. It was Earth's warship, the Aegis. The humans had kept it a secret for years, the galaxy unaware of just how far Earth's technology had advanced. As the Aegis appeared, every other ship froze. No signals, no attacks, no evasive maneuvers, just complete, paralyzing silence. The commanders of alien fleets stared in disbelief through their viewports, their eyes wide with shock and fear. "Identify that vessel," a voice demanded from the flagship of the dominant Zoran Empire. But even before the command was fully given, the answer was clear. "It's Earth," came a trembling reply from a young officer who barely believed his own words. Earth, the backwater planet the galactic powers had long dismissed as insignificant, primitive, and weak. The humans, with their ragtag fleets and unpredictable tactics, had never been taken seriously. But now, here was the Aegis, shining like a blade through the darkness, proving that Earth had been hiding a terrible secret. The Aegis didn't move aggressively, didn't fire weapons or launch drones. It simply drifted into the center of the standoff, a silent sentinel that spoke volumes. No one dared to move, to breathe, to even blink. The mere presence of the human warship shifted the entire balance of power overnight. Commander Rax of the Zoran flagship tightened his grip on the console, trying to process what this meant. "Are we sure it's just one ship?" "Yes, Commander," the communications officer replied. "Our scans show no other vessels of similar size or technology in the system." Rax frowned. The humans must be hiding more, he thought. A single warship wouldn't be enough to challenge the combined fleets of the Andromeda sector. But there was something different this time. Something about that ship that sent a chill through his bones. Suddenly, a broadcast came from the Aegis. The voice was calm, steady, and unmistakably human. It echoed across all channels, overriding every system. "This is Commander Jane Mercer of the Earth Defense Fleet. We come in peace, but we will not hesitate to defend ourselves or our allies. Consider this your only warning. Stand down, or face consequences you cannot imagine." The message sent waves through the galaxy. Aliens whispered among themselves. Fear, respect, even disbelief. The humans had never spoken like this before, never shown this level of confidence. Back on Earth, millions watched the live transmissions, holding their breath. For years, humanity had endured threats, insults, and invasions from alien powers who saw them as weak. But now, something had changed. Commander Mercer's words were not just a warning, they were a promise. And when Earth's warship appeared, no one dared to move. The galaxy had always been a place where power was measured by fleets, alliances, and ruthless tactics. Earth had been nothing more than a footnote in cosmic politics, a curious planet with limited influence and weaker technology. But the Aegis was proof that Earth had been quietly building strength in the shadows, preparing for a moment like this. Commander Jane Mercer stood on the bridge of the warship, her eyes scanning the vast array of alien vessels arrayed before her. The tension was thick enough to cut with a knife, but she remained steady. Years of training had prepared her for this. She was not just leading a ship. She was carrying the hopes of an entire species. "We're reading no hostile movements," the tactical officer reported. Every fleet is holding position, but their weapons are primed. Good, Mercer said. They're smart enough to know what this ship is capable of. She turned to the communications officer. Keep the channel open. If they try anything, they'll hear from us immediately. Behind her, the hum of the Aegis's engines was like a heartbeat. Steady, powerful, and unyielding. The ship itself was a masterpiece of human engineering, built with materials forged under extreme conditions back on Earth, and powered by a reactor that defied known physics. Its weapon systems were lethal, but it was the ship's advanced shielding and stealth capabilities that truly set it apart. Alien commanders, watching through their own sensors, whispered rumors. Some said the Aegis could dodge entire fleets of missiles with ease. Others claimed its weapons could punch through the thickest armor like paper. Fear spread, not just of destruction, but of the unknown potential Earth held. For decades, Earth had been the target of alien interference. Pirates, invaders, exploiters who thought humans were easy prey. But humanity had grown hardened by those struggles. They had learned, adapted, and now they were ready to claim their place among the stars. Commander, the science officer interrupted. Our sensors detect unusual energy signatures from several nearby star systems. Could be reinforcements. Mercer nodded grimly. Prepare to deploy countermeasures. Let them come. We'll show them that Earth doesn't wait for others to make the first move. Back in the Zaloran flagship, Commander Rax's frustration grew. He had underestimated Earth, and that mistake might cost him everything. We can't just sit here, Rax barked. We need to show strength. But the Aegis has us frozen, his second-in-command argued. Any aggressive action could trigger an all-out war, and they've warned us. Rax clenched his fists. His empire had ruled for centuries with fear and domination. Now, a single human warship threatened to unravel it all. Meanwhile, on the Aegis, the crew worked like a well-oiled machine. Every sensor, every weapon, every system was monitored. But Mercer knew this was more than a battle of technology. It was a test of will. The universe had long believed humans were weak. This moment was about proving otherwise. Suddenly, an urgent alert flashed on the main screen. Unknown ship detected, approaching at high speed, the radar officer announced. Identify, Mercer ordered. The screen flickered, revealing a small but heavily armed vessel speeding toward them from the shadows. Pirates, the tactical officer said grimly. They must be trying to provoke a fight. Mercer's jaw tightened. Send a warning. Leave this sector immediately or face destruction. The response was silence. The pirate ship accelerated, weapons charging. Without hesitation, Mercer gave the order. Target and disable, non-lethal but effective. A beam of blue energy shot out, striking the pirate vessel's engines. The ship shuddered, then drifted powerless. The galaxy watched as the Aegis neutralized a threat with precision and restraint. It was a clear message. Earth's warship was not just a weapon, it was a guardian. As the silence returned, the standoff grew even tenser. No one dared move, no one dared challenge the humans. Because now, when Earth's warship appeared, no one dared to move. The stunned silence across the sector wasn't just about the display of power, it was about what that power represented. Earth wasn't merely defending itself, it was announcing its arrival as a force to be reckoned with in the galaxy. Inside the Aegis, Commander Jane Mercer knew the real battle was just beginning. Their message had been delivered loud and clear. Earth was no longer the weak underdog. But with that message came responsibility. One misstep, one rash decision, and the fragile peace could shatter, dragging countless worlds into chaos. Her thoughts were interrupted by the incoming message on the secure channel. The Galactic Council, the governing body made up of representatives from the largest alien empires, had convened an emergency session. They wanted to speak with Earth directly. Patch it through, Mercer ordered. The holographic image of Grand Chancellor Vorn appeared on the main screen. A tall, thin figure draped in regal robes that shimmered like starlight. His eyes were sharp, but there was a hint of unease in his voice. Commander Mercer, Earth's sudden display of power has shocked us all. The Council demands to know your intentions. Why reveal your warship now? Are you here to threaten peace or enforce it? Mercer met his gaze steadily. Grand Chancellor, Earth has long suffered from the neglect and exploitation of others. We have hidden our strength not out of fear, but to avoid unnecessary conflict. But the time for hiding is over. We are here to protect ourselves and any who seek justice, not to wage war without cause. Vorn's expression tightened. Words are easy. Actions are another matter. Your warship's presence disrupts the balance of power. Many fear this is the beginning of an Earth-led conquest. Mercer shook her head. Conquest is not our goal. Survival is. And respect. We come offering a new era, one where Earth will not be trampled or ignored. Behind the hologram, alien delegates murmured and exchanged worried glances. The Council was divided. Some saw Earth as a threat to their dominance, others as a necessary check against corrupt empires. Suddenly, an alarm blared from the ship's sensors. Multiple ships detected entering the system, the tactical officer said urgently. They're not responding to our calls. Mercer's eyes narrowed. Prepare for engagement. We don't want war, but we're ready if it comes. The Aegis's shields shimmered as hundreds of enemy ships from various factions poured into the system, their formations tight, weapons glowing with menace. This was no diplomatic visit. It was a show of force meant to intimidate. But Mercer stood firm. Hold your fire unless we're attacked. Let's see if they have the courage to make the first move. Across the bridge, the crew moved swiftly, each member knowing the stakes. The battle that might come would determine humanity's place in the stars. As the alien fleets closed in, the Aegis remained a solitary giant against the encroaching tide. No one dared to move first, not because of hesitation, but because everyone knew what would happen if they did. The humans had made their statement. The galaxy had to listen. The tension in the Andromeda sector was thick enough to suffocate. Alien warships filled every quadrant of space around the Aegis, their weapons locked on the human warship like predators circling prey. Yet, not a single shot had been fired. The silence was a heavy drumbeat, marking the pause before a storm. Commander Jane Mercer stood on the bridge, her face calm, but her mind racing. She knew this standoff was more than a test of weapons. It was a test of wills. The alien fleets wanted to see if Earth's threat was real, or if the humans would crumble under pressure. Sir, the tactical officer reported, voice steady but tense. Multiple fleets are signaling for permission to attack. They want to strike first. Mercer's eyes narrowed. They're waiting for a sign of weakness, she said quietly. We won't give it to them. Her fingers danced across the command console, sending a message to the combined fleets. The message was simple and clear. We do not want war, but we will defend ourselves to the last breath. The reply was immediate and chilling. The fleets responded with a volley of warnings, each more aggressive than the last. Threats of destruction, demands for Earth to withdraw, veiled promises of retaliation. Commander, the Zoran flagship is requesting a parley, the communications officer announced. Mercer nodded. Put them through. The hologram flickered to life, showing Commander Rax from the Zoran Empire. His face was grim, eyes hard with frustration and fear. Commander Mercer, Rax said, this standoff cannot continue. Your warship threatens the balance we've maintained for centuries. We demand you leave our sector immediately, or we will be forced to take action. Mercer met his gaze evenly. Commander Rax, Earth has no interest in dominance. We seek respect and peace. But if you believe attacking us will solve your fears, you are gravely mistaken." Rax's eyes darkened. "You are new to galactic politics, human. You do not understand the consequences." "I understand more than you think," Mercer replied. "We have watched as your empires exploited weaker worlds, crushed dissent, and spread fear. That ends now. Earth will stand for those who cannot." The conversation ended with no resolution, but Mercer felt a strange shift. Behind Rax's bravado was uncertainty. The humans were no longer an easy target. Suddenly, the Aegis's sensors detected a massive energy buildup, a weapon charging on the Zoran flagship. "Commander," the tactical officer warned, "they're preparing to fire a long-range plasma cannon. If they launch, it could cripple us." Mercer didn't flinch. "Bring up the shields to maximum. Prepare countermeasures." The crew moved with practiced precision. The Aegis's shield shimmered as the Zoran plasma blast struck, a brilliant explosion lighting the darkness of space. But the human ship held firm, barely scratched. The alien fleets recoiled, surprised and angry. No one expected the Aegis to survive such a strike unscathed. "Return fire with a warning shot," Mercer ordered. "Target their engines, disable but don't destroy." A beam of searing light cut through the void, striking the Zoran flagship's propulsion system. The massive ship shuddered, flames licking its hull, and slowly drifted out of formation. The standoff intensified. Some alien commanders started questioning their orders, unsure if they wanted to face this new human threat. On the Aegis, Mercer gathered her senior officers. "We've sent a message. They'll think twice before attacking again, but we can't stay here forever." The communications officer nodded. "The Galactic Council is still debating. Some want peace, others want war." Mercer sighed. "Then we wait, but we prepare. Earth's place in the stars depends on it." Outside the viewport, the alien fleets hesitated, their weapons still locked but hands trembling over triggers. For now, no one dared to move. Because when Earth's warship appeared, the galaxy learned that some lines should never be crossed. The standoff stretched on, days melting into nights across the cold expanse of space. The Aegis held its position at the heart of the Andromeda sector, a lone beacon of human resolve, surrounded by wary alien fleets. Commander Jane Mercer paced the bridge, the weight of command settling heavier on her shoulders with each passing hour. She could feel it, every crew member's quiet tension, every unspoken fear beneath their disciplined exterior. They were soldiers trained for battle, but this waiting game was a test of endurance all its own. The Galactic Council's emergency session dragged on, voices echoing through the ship's secure communications, debates filled with suspicion and veiled threats. Some empires called for Earth's immediate expulsion from the sector, branding humans as reckless upstarts. Others urged caution, wary of the unpredictable power Earth now wielded. Mercer knew time was running out. The longer the standoff continued, the more dangerous the situation became. Suddenly, the ship's comms officer interrupted the council broadcast with urgent news. "Commander, we have an incoming distress signal. It's from a nearby colony on the planet Thoraxis." Mercer turned sharply. "Put it on the main screen." The grainy holographic image of a battered settlement appeared, smoke rising from ruined buildings and flickering emergency lights. A voice cracked through the static, a woman's voice, desperate and exhausted. "This is Governor Lyra Korvath of Thoraxis Colony. We are under attack by unknown raiders. Our defenses have been overwhelmed. Request immediate assistance." Mercer's jaw tightened. "Unknown raiders? Any idea who they are?" "Unknown ships, fast and ruthless. They struck without warning. We lost contact with nearby patrols." The council chatter shifted instantly. Some delegates whispered about pirates taking advantage of the standoff. Others suspected a deliberate provocation to force Earth's hand. Mercer faced her officers. This could be a test, to see how we react, or a chance to prove we're more than just a threat. Her tactical officer nodded. If we don't respond, it could weaken our position politically. The Council will question our commitment to peace. Prepare a squadron for rapid deployment, Mercer ordered. We're going to Thoraxis. As the Aegis launched a smaller fleet of sleek, fast attack ships, Mercer couldn't shake the uneasy feeling settling in her gut. The galaxy was watching and waiting for Earth to show its true colors. The squadron arrived at Thoraxis to find devastation. The colony's defenses were shattered, and survivors huddled in makeshift shelters. The raiders had vanished, leaving chaos in their wake. Mercer met with Governor Korvath, who was visibly shaken but grateful. Your timely arrival saved many lives, Commander. But these attackers were unlike any we've seen. No known fleet claimed responsibility. Mercer frowned. We'll investigate. This aggression won't go unanswered. Back on the Aegis, the investigation revealed troubling intelligence. The raiders used technology suspiciously similar to Zoloran designs, but with modifications that suggested outside interference. Commander, this looks like a false flag operation, the intelligence officer reported. Someone wants to provoke conflict between Earth and the Zoloran Empire. Mercer's expression hardened. Then we expose them. We can't let anyone ignite a war we don't want. The Galactic Council resumed its debate, but the attack shifted perspectives. Many began to see Earth not as the aggressor, but as a potential peacekeeper in a fracturing galaxy. Mercer sent a broadcast to all factions. Earth stands ready to protect the innocent and uphold peace. Those who seek to sow chaos through lies and violence will face the united strength of humanity. The message reverberated through star systems, earning cautious respect and deepening fear. Yet beneath the surface, Mercer knew the true battle was far from over. Shadows moved in the background, alliances shifting, enemies lurking. The Aegis was a symbol of Earth's power, but it was also a target. As the warship rested in the quiet aftermath of the Thoraxis mission, Mercer gazed out at the stars. This was only the beginning. When Earth's warship appeared, no one dared to move, but everyone was watching, waiting for the next move. The uneasy calm following the Thoraxis raid was shattered sooner than anyone expected. Just as Commander Jane Mercer had suspected, the galaxy was a chessboard with many hidden players, and the false flag attack was only the first move in a much larger game. On board the Aegis, the atmosphere was tense but focused. Intelligence analysts pored over data, looking for any clue about who was orchestrating the chaos behind the scenes. The technology used by the raiders was too advanced for mere pirates, yet it wasn't a direct match to any known faction's arsenal. Someone was deliberately trying to mislead, to provoke conflict between Earth and the Zoloran Empire. Mercer gathered her senior officers in the strategy room. The holographic star map flickered with flashing points representing fleets and planets. "We've got enemies in the shadows," she began. "If we want peace, we need to find out who's pulling the strings, and fast." The science officer chimed in. "Our latest scans picked up encrypted communications between unknown ships near the Saran Belt. The patterns match the raider attack frequency." The tactical officer frowned. "That area is heavily patrolled by the Zolorans. If those ships are hiding there, they're either Zoloran loyalists gone rogue, or someone impersonating them." Mercer's eyes narrowed. "Then it's time to pay a visit." The Aegis and a contingent of escort vessels jumped into the Saran Belt, moving cautiously through asteroid fields and debris. Every sensor was on high alert. Alien warships shadowed their movements, suspicion and hostility thick in the void. As they neared the coordinates, a surprise awaited them. Hidden within a massive asteroid was a clandestine base, shielded and bristling with weaponry. A fleet of ships, sleek and dark, emerged from the shadows, far more advanced than typical Zoran designs. A message crackled over the comm channels, cold and commanding. "This is Admiral Qatar of the Obsidian Hand. We do not recognize Earth's authority here. Withdraw or be destroyed." Mercer's jaw tightened. The Obsidian Hand was a notorious mercenary group, rumored to be the puppet masters behind many destabilizing attacks. Their sudden appearance confirmed the worst. This wasn't just a galactic dispute. It was a covert war. "Prepare for engagement," Mercer ordered. "We're not leaving without answers." The battle erupted with sudden ferocity. The Aegis unleashed its full might, energy beams cutting through space, shields flaring under heavy fire. The Obsidian Hand fought with ruthless precision, their ships weaving through asteroids, striking from unexpected angles. Despite the onslaught, Mercer's crew held firm. Their training, technology, and sheer determination turned the tide. One by one, the enemy ships were disabled or forced to retreat back into the shadows. But the victory came at a cost. The Aegis sustained damage to its starboard engines, forcing the warship into a slow drift. Amid the chaos, Mercer received a transmission from the Obsidian Hand's flagship, a smug voice dripping with menace. "Commander Mercer, you've made a powerful enemy today. Earth's rise threatens to upset the natural order. You'll find no peace in these stars. Remember that." Mercer stared at the screen, unflinching. "We're not here to start wars, but we won't back down from defending what's ours." The message ended, but its threat lingered in the air like a storm warning. Back on the bridge, Mercer looked around at her crew, fatigue shadowing their faces but fire still burning in their eyes. "This is far from over," she said softly. "The Obsidian Hand will keep pushing. We need to be ready." Outside, distant stars blinked cold and indifferent. The galaxy was vast, full of darkness and light, allies and enemies. But Earth had made its stand. When Earth's warship appeared, no one dared to move. But the fight for humanity's place among the stars had only just begun. The Aegis drifted slowly through the void, its engines damaged but still holding enough power to maneuver cautiously. The crew worked tirelessly to repair the starboard engines, their hands steady even under the relentless pressure of the looming threat. Commander Jane Mercer knew that every minute they spent in this vulnerable state was a risk. Enemy forces could return at any moment, hoping to capitalize on their weakened condition. Despite the repairs, the warship remained a symbol of defiance, a testament to humanity's resilience. Reports from across the sector confirmed that Earth's bold stand had shaken the confidence of several alien factions. The once arrogant whispers of primitive humans were now replaced with wary respect, and, in some circles, outright fear. But fear alone was not enough to secure peace. Mercer spent hours in the command center, strategizing with her senior officers. "The Obsidian Hand won't stop," she said grimly. "They want to destabilize the sector, provoke war between Earth and the Empires, and profit from the chaos." The intelligence officer nodded. "We've intercepted communications suggesting they're recruiting mercenaries from other systems, arming pirates, smugglers, even disgruntled soldiers. They're building a private army." "We need allies," Mercer said. "If we stand alone, we'll be overwhelmed." A plan began to take shape. Mercer reached out through secure channels to the more moderate factions within the Galactic Council, those who had spoken cautiously in favor of peace. The message was clear. Earth did not seek conquest or domination, only survival and mutual respect. Together they could form a coalition strong enough to challenge the Obsidian Hand's growing influence. Days later, the first response arrived. A fleet from the Varelian Confederacy, a race known for their diplomatic skills and advanced technology. Their admiral, A calm but determined figure named Sarah Venn boarded the Aegis for talks. "Commander Mercer," Venn said, "your courage has inspired many. The Varelians stand ready to join your cause. But we must be cautious. The Obsidian Hand is cunning, and there are traitors within the Council itself." Mercer nodded. "We'll proceed carefully, but we can't afford hesitation. Every day the Obsidian Hand grows stronger." Together they drafted a plan to root out corruption within the Council and launch coordinated strikes against the mercenary network. It was a dangerous gambit, but the alternative was allowing chaos to spread unchecked. Meanwhile, the crew of the Aegis continued repairs and training, preparing for the battles ahead. Mercer often walked among them, offering words of encouragement and sharing the weight of leadership. She knew that behind every weapon and shield was a person, a human being fighting not just for survival, but for a future where Earth would never be underestimated again. One evening, as the warship orbited a nearby star to recharge its systems, the calm was shattered by a sudden alert. "Multiple ships decloaking nearby," the radar officer announced. "Unknown signature, very fast, very small." Mercer's eyes flashed. Pirates? Or worse? The tactical officer frowned. "They're approaching an attack formation. No communication." "Prepare defenses," Mercer ordered. "We may have visitors." As the ships surged forward, the Aegis's crew braced for another battle. But this time the attackers revealed themselves, not as mindless raiders, but as skilled fighters, their tactics suggesting training far beyond ordinary pirates. The lead ship hailed the Aegis, its voice distorted but clear. "Commander Mercer, we come not to fight, but to propose an alliance. The Obsidian Hand has made enemies of many. Join us, and together we can end their reign." Mercer studied the message. Could these strangers be trusted? In this galaxy, trust was a rare commodity, hard-won and easily broken. But the offer was tempting. United, they might stand a chance. "Patch them through," Mercer said. "Let's hear what they have to say." As the conversation unfolded, new alliances began to form. The warship from Earth was no longer a solitary beacon, but a rallying point for those who sought order amid chaos. The galaxy was watching, waiting, and slowly hope began to flicker. When Earth's warship appeared, no one dared to move. But now they had to choose, stand with humanity, or be swept away in the coming storm. The uneasy alliances forged in the shadows began to take shape, a fragile web stretching across the stars. Commander Jane Mercer stood on the bridge of the Aegis, gazing out at the vast expanse where countless ships from different factions gathered. The warship from Earth, once a lone symbol of defiance, had become the heart of a growing coalition determined to confront the threat of the Obsidian Hand and the deeper corruption poisoning the Galactic Council. Yet, the weight of leadership pressed heavily on Mercer's shoulders. She knew the battles ahead would test every ounce of their strength, loyalty, and resolve. This was no longer a simple standoff. It was the beginning of a war that would shape the destiny of humanity and the galaxy. As the coalition fleet assembled, intelligence reports painted a grim picture. The Obsidian Hand had entrenched itself deeply with allies in unexpected places, corrupt council members, rogue military commanders, and mercenary leaders who thrived in the chaos. The enemy was vast, cunning, and ruthless. Mercer convened a council meeting aboard the Aegis, the holographic star map glowing with fleet positions and strategic points. "We face enemies within and without," she began, voice steady but urgent. "Our mission is clear: dismantle the Obsidian Hand's network, expose the traitors, and restore order. We must act decisively." Admiral Sarah Venn of the Varelian Confederacy nodded. "Our intelligence suggests their main base lies on the industrial world of Dravos. It's heavily fortified, but vulnerable if we strike with precision. Then that's where we go, Mercer said. But we must be prepared for anything. This won't be a quick battle. The fleet moved with purpose, slipping through space like a blade cutting through darkness. As they approached Dravos, the tension grew palpable. Reports confirmed the presence of heavy defenses, automated turrets, mines, and thousands of enemy fighters ready to defend the base. The first wave of assault ships launched from the Aegis, weaving through enemy fire with skill honed by countless drills. Explosions lit the void as the battle erupted. Inside the Aegis, Mercer coordinated the assault, issuing commands with calm precision. "Target the shield generators first," she ordered. "Without them, their defenses will crumble." Despite fierce resistance, the coalition forces pressed forward. Ships were lost, heroes made, but the tide began to turn. Suddenly, a transmission interrupted the battle. A distorted voice crackled through the comms. "You think you can stop us? The Obsidian Hand is everywhere. Your precious coalition will fall." The voice belonged to Admiral Qatar, the mercenary leader who had once threatened Mercer. His threat was clear. The fight was far from over. Mercer's jaw tightened. "We'll see about that." After hours of relentless combat, the coalition forces breached the outer defenses and landed strike teams on Dravos. The ground battle was brutal. Mercenaries and corrupted soldiers fought fiercely to protect their stronghold. Mercer led a squad herself, moving through ruined factories and smoke-choked streets. Every corner held danger, but the determination to end the Obsidian Hand's reign pushed her forward. Inside the Central Command Center, they confronted Qatar and his loyalists. The final showdown was fierce and personal. Mercer's crew fought with desperation, every move a matter of survival. When the dust settled, Qatar was captured, his network dismantled. The Obsidian Hand's grip on the sector weakened, its dark influence starting to fade. Back aboard the Aegis, Mercer addressed the coalition leaders. "This victory is just the beginning. We've proven that together we can stand against darkness, but we must remain vigilant. The galaxy is watching." Her words were met with nods and determined expressions. The fragile peace was hard won, but it was real. In the following weeks, the Galactic Council held a historic session. Evidence gathered by the coalition exposed the corrupt members and their ties to the Obsidian Hand. Reforms were proposed, alliances strengthened, and a new era of cooperation began to dawn. Earth's role in this transformation was undeniable. Humans were no longer the dismissed outcasts. They were leaders, defenders, and hope for a better future. As the Aegis prepared to return home, Mercer stood once more on the bridge, looking out at the stars. The journey had been perilous, but humanity had earned its place among the stars. The galaxy had learned a powerful lesson. When Earth's warship appeared, no one dared to move. But more than that, they learned that humanity would fight not just to survive, but to protect what was right. The stars stretched endlessly before them, full of promise and challenge. The Aegis sailed forward, a beacon of strength and unity, a reminder that even in the darkest times, hope could shine brightest. And so the story of Earth's warship was just the beginning of a new chapter, one written not with fear or submission, but with courage, honor, and the unyielding spirit of humanity.